Hi there, my name's Corey, and I'm one of the owners of LetterPress Chocolate. My husband and I, David and I, we started a chocolate factory in our apartment about 7 years ago. And we had just tiny machines at the time in our little kitchen there. We quickly outgrew the space, so we needed to find a much larger kitchen so that we could buy larger equipment and start making a lot more chocolate so that we could make sure that the business was successful. So we started looking around, and we luckily found a kitchen just down the street from us. And it took a while to figure out how to set it up and make sure that we had all the rooms that were set aside for each of the different pieces of equipment. But now it's our chocolate factory. And let's see, so how did we start out? So a long time ago, probably about 8 years ago now, we had a trip down to the Caribbean. We went down to St. Lucia, and they were actually growing cacao trees down there. So that got us kind of interested in chocolate. So David, he decided to take a bean to bar class. So basically it was tree to bar, so how to plant the trees all the way to making the chocolate. And he took a class at Madre Chocolate in Hawaii and learned all that he possibly could from the teacher there, and then came back, and that's how we originally started making chocolate. And then he got some mentors after that, and also he purchased a lot of books too to help him figure out how to make chocolate. So let's see, so my background, I majored in biology in college, and then as side jobs, I did a lot of accounting work and office work, so kind of had that background. And with David, he was in the visual effects industry, where he was actually making movies, so which was kind of cool. So he has kind of that graphic design, and he kind of did graphic design as well on the side. So he had that background, and I had the background of biology with all the tools needed for office and accounting and things like that. So our roles were very defined in the beginning. So and he is also a big chef at home, so he loves baking and cooking and all that. So naturally he became the chocolate maker, and I basically ran all the books and all the office work. I do all the ordering for supplies, and there's so many different things you have to buy. And then I kind of am also his assistant as well when he makes the chocolate. So that's kind of how we got into it. So now we have a large chocolate factory here in LA. We actually have a retail store as well. That's where I'm standing. This is our letterpress wall behind us. And currently the retail is closed due to the pandemic of COVID. Since it's just the two of us working here, we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to get sick. So because if we were to get sick, we wouldn't be able to make the chocolate, right? So we've been isolating ourselves as much as possible. We have our own little bubble. So right now people are only able to do curbside pickup, and so we have the least amount of exposure from people coming to the store. And we've stopped all of our tours, unfortunately, because we can't allow anyone in the factory right now, and we can't do any tastings as well. But we also do ship our chocolate. So my responsibilities that I have is I am the production manager. So I run the production schedule. So I tell David, my husband, what chocolate we are low on. So basically, let me kind of step back a little bit and explain the bean to bar process. So we start out with cocoa beans, which I know in Hawaii, there are cocoa farms there, and they grow the pods. So what we get is we get the fermented and dried beans. So the farmer does all of the work on that part with growing the trees, fermenting the beans, drying the beans, so that they're just have just the right flavor, and they're just really good quality. So then what we do is we pay the farmers for their work. So we try to make sure that we're paying the farmers for at least a living wage, and we try to pay even more than that for the beans, because they take a lot of time and effort to get the beans tasting really good and just really great quality. So that's where we start off with. We get basically giant bags of beans, 50-pound bags of beans or 100-pound bags of beans. depending upon which maker, however they package the beans. So we get the beans and we clean them. And cleaning means we look for like sticks and rocks and twigs, and we take all of that out, so we're just left with just the beans, and then we roast them. And every origin has a different roasting profile, and it brings out different flavors as well from the beans. So we don't want to roast it too lightly because it might taste a little bit too much grass, or if you roast it too heavy, then it'll kind of taste like burnt. So we like to try to do like a middle of the road, a medium roast. So then from there, we have our cracking and winnowing room. So what we do is we take the beans and throw them into our cracker. And we have an impact cracker, so when the beans go into the top, they get thrown across to the sides of the cracker and it cracks it open, so you're left with the outer husk and the nibs. So the nibs, that's what makes chocolate. So from there we have a sorter. So a sorter, it's like a whole bunch of different screens that we put the nibs and the shell in at the top, and it sorts it by size so that it gets rid of all the shell, the really big shell, and then you're left with all the beans with different sizes. And then from there we put it into our winnower. And the winnower, it is like a vacuum system, so it blows air. We have like a little, it's a little like ramp, and the beans, like the nibs and the shell, they go down the ramp, and then they get pushed over a current of air and vacuum, so then all the shell is pulled away because it's lighter, and all the nibs fall down into a bucket. So now we just have the nibs. So this is the part where we take the nibs, and there's no longer shell because you don't want to eat shell. You don't want shell in your chocolate. So now you just have the nibs, and we throw them into our stone melangers. So our stone melangers, they have stones in it, and the whole thing spins, and the wheels turn, and it grinds down the nibs into like a nice liquid. And then after a few days, we add sugar. We might add some cocoa butter just to make the mouthfeel feel a little bit more creamy. And our grind, so once they're in there, that's when it's really becoming chocolate, because now you have the nibs, you have the sugar, and you have the cocoa butter. Some of our origins, we don't add any extra cocoa butter, so it's only 2 ingredients. For our 100% bar, it's only the nibs. We don't add anything else, so it's just 1 ingredient. So depending upon the origin, we might let the chocolate run in the grinder for about 2 days. Sometimes we'll leave it in there for a week. It just depends, because we're throwing in heat, and with it spinning, you're getting a lot of air, so you're getting a lot of flavor development that is occurring in that process. So then once we feel that it's ready, we pull that chocolate out and we put it into steam pans so we can form the chocolate into manageable blocks that we will eventually melt down later. So basically we put the liquid chocolate into the steam pan, and then it'll cool and it solidifies into a big block of chocolate. And then from there, when we need to make chocolate bars, we'll take one of those blocks, we'll put it back into a big steam pan, and we'll just let it melt overnight. So then it's really easy to pour it into our tempering machine. So to make chocolate bars, you have to temper it so that it'll stay solid, higher than room temperature, and it doesn't melt as easily. And it gives you that really nice snap when you break the chocolate bar. So once we go to temper it, we use our tempering machine. And we have different size tempering machines depending upon the batch size that we're going to do, we're going to temper. So typically our batches right now are about 200 bars at a time. Sometimes, like we made white chocolate today, it was only about, I think it was about 60 bars. So it averages some, and then when we have a really large tempering machine as well, and we can do about, I think 600 bars with that one. But, it depends upon the project. So that's one of the things I do. So I kind of put in there our bean to bar process as well. So I basically determine what we're running low on, what chocolate we need to make, and what chocolate we also need to temper into finished bars. So that's one of my many responsibilities. I also wash the dishes here because there's only 2 of us. So you kind of share that duty as well. But then I do all of the bookkeeping as well. So I use QuickBooks, and I learned that from a previous job. I had a boss there that kind of trained me on QuickBooks, and then also I bought a book. And then I've taken some classes too. So you kind of like, you get that. There's a lot of on-the-job training here. We've read a lot of books as well. And there's a lot of just kind of like figuring it out as you go along. But, you know, that's kind of how it is. And then the challenging, this year has been really challenging. So the challenges that we've kind of faced is that we've had to slim down our crew. We had one employee working for us earlier last year, but he wanted to go back to college, so he quit. And then it was just the two of us, and then, you know, we had the shutdown because of the pandemic. So it just became just the two of us, again, trying to get all of the things that we do, you know, done with just two people. Because not only do we have to figure out which beans we want, we have to always get a sample beforehand and make sure that they're really good quality. We want to make sure that there's no slave labor involved either with the beans. We want to make sure it's everyone's getting paid. So we have to do a lot of research in that respect before we buy the beans. And then we have to do all the roasting. We have to, you know, do that whole process I explained. And then just trying to get all of that done, but then also doing your social media, you know, as well, you know, your marketing. So there's a lot to be done here, you know, every day. And then answering, you know, emails, talking to customers. And a lot of customers that, you know, now that they can't taste the bars, they're always trying to find out, hey, what bar would I like? So we have to, like, you know, email a bunch of people back and help them, you know, order what bars they want. And then also we have special projects too. We do like private label for companies. So it's been challenging this year just because there's only two of us and trying to get it all figured out and trying to like keep the company running. So it was a lot of long hours, and that was another challenging thing, is work-life balance. So like I went home earlier to go work out at home, ate dinner, and then come back. And I'm gonna do some more work later. So just wanted to, yeah, it's challenging like owning your own business. Eventually we'll be able to have employees again, and then that'll really help us, you know, get things rolling and whatnot. So some of the we've had to do a lot of traveling, so that's kind of been one of the fun experiences that we've done with the company. We've let's see, Dave has gone to the Dominican Republic. They're in the Caribbean. I've gone to Belize, and I've gone also to Guatemala, and David has been to, let's see, where else? He's also been to Peru to look for beans. One of our very popular bars is our Ukiali bar. So next what I'll do is I'll just take you through like some of our products, and just so you can kind of see what we do. So let me flip this around if I can. I don't know, I don't think I can. So I'll kind of walk over and I'll kind of show you in here. So this is one of our popular bars, or I know it's backwards, but this is our Ukiali bar. It's from Peru. It's got notes of like caramel, some star anise, like a peppery mocha finish. And then to compare, this one is our Sao Tome. This one's got more like peanut butter notes, but this is just the notes of the chocolate. So everybody tastes something a little bit different. So then we also have our hot chocolate. So we made like hot chocolate. We also have ice cream. We also have some like nice flavored bars as well. We have our mint bar. And we have a candle maker that actually takes the shell. Remember the shell that I was telling you about? And he takes all the scent out of the shell through this steam distillation process. And he's made candles for us. So each of the candles smell a little bit different. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, so that's kind of like, there's our retail. I know it's a little bit different because of COVID. Normally have some nice stands, but yeah, that's basically it. If you have any questions, you can always email me too. My is Corey, COREY, @letterpresschocolate.com. All right, I hope you all are doing great, and have a great day. Bye.